had an interesting week, certainly some interesting talking points. Speaking of points, we got 49 in the end, average of 43, highest was 113. I forgot to change my team again. I was so wrapped up in Football Manager that I just completely forgot, which is ironic when you think about it. So I lost out on 10 points of Mendy being on the bench because I would 100% have put him in, thinking that Burnley wouldn't have scored. So pretty gutted about that. Probably would have put him in for Wan-Bissaka, so that's maybe 9 points lost there, which would have given me a really good week. As it was, we're going up, but I guess that's good. And it was okay in the end. So Lloris with the clean sheet, along with Trippier, along with some. Did he get extra points for saves? I think he did actually. Yeah. Van Dijk with a clean sheet, just about. Trippier, clean sheet as I said. Bernardo Silva goal. Willian, was it an assist or a goal? Assist, sorry. Hazard nothing. Jorginho nothing. Maddison nothing. Well, I say nothing, but two. Zaha nothing. Aguero with a goal. So I think if I had made changes, I would have definitely put Mendy in for Wan-Bissaka, and I would have got rid of Zaha, put another striker in, which is what I'm going to do this week because Palace are not playing well. In terms of the league, I'm in third place, so yeah, pretty average points I'd say across the board here. Winner for the week is it's Vergaard, I think, and then Scott Davey down the bottom here, 52 as well. Let's have a look at the team there. Mendy, yeah, I would have had the highest score if I'd have actually remembered to do my team. Aguero captain, yeah, I don't know if I would have made Aguero captain, probably would have. So it's totally my fault, as I said. I just carried away with Football Manager. I completely forgot until I was literally watching the kickoff at the Chelsea Man United game, and I went, oh crap, I forgot. So yeah, not good there, but overall, yeah, not too bad, I guess. Third in the league currently. Not embarrassing myself, that's good. A bit worried about that, and obviously good luck to all of you guys. 15 of us in there now. That's pretty good. If you want to join the league, there's a community post with the link, and there's also, I think, the second video, fantasy football video, has the link in it. I always forget otherwise, sorry. I do always forget. So, let's talk about the games, because that's why we're here. I think I said last week, I thought this would be a really interesting week. There's some weeks when you're like, these games are not going to be anything, but there are a couple of games here which really piqued my interest. Of obviously Chelsea Man United, Cardiff Fulham, West Ham Spurs, Arsenal Leicester. I all thought those would be really interesting games, and I wasn't really too wrong. Maybe West Ham Spurs wasn't that interesting, but otherwise, yeah, pretty interesting game. Start off with Chelsea Man United. I guess that was probably the biggest profile game of the weekend. 2-2 draw, but that doesn't really do justice to what was a roller coaster of a match. So I did watch this one, as I said, and Chelsea scored first. Rudiger from a corner, which God knows where Pogba was or what he was doing. He just didn't even pick up Rudiger's run. He had the little tantrum like a baby afterwards, knowing that he completely screwed it up and cost this side a goal. But it was a really good header from Rudiger and a good run, to be fair. And after that, I thought, okay, I think my thoughts there were, and Man United were playing so badly. My thoughts were, how many are Chelsea going to score? Is this going to be 2-3-0, basically? Because, Man United, after that, they were terrible. The first half, they were awful. Second half, they were a different team, completely different. Martial scored 2 really good goals. They were working Chelsea much, much harder. Chelsea were finding it much more difficult. Once they got those 2 goals, ironically, that's when Mourinho usually does his bit, and they tried to defend, and they brought on a couple of more defensive midfielders. I think it was Herrera and somebody else. Can't remember exactly. It doesn't really matter, I guess. But and as a result, they ended up conceding in the 96th minute, I think. hopeful punt in the box from Azpilicueta. David Luiz with a superb header, nearly scored, hits the post. I can't remember who got the follow-up, but it was a superb save from De Gea, and then just fell to Barkley, and he couldn't really miss from there with De Gea on the ground. And Ross Barkley's had a good last few games, definitely. Did very well for England as well as Chelsea, probably the last month or so. And overall, I think they've got to be absolutely delighted, Chelsea, to take a point from that when Man United really came back into it. Man United, I mean, they've got to look at that as 2 points lost, I guess. Signs of improvement, but if they play like they did in that first half there, then they're going to get nowhere this season. They were awful. Mata was really good, I thought, for them. I don't think he gets enough game time for them. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he could have been a similar player to David Silva if he just was trusted a bit more by his managers. He's had Mourinho twice, unfortunately, and Mourinho just doesn't really seem to trust him. He gives him a game every now and then, I think, because he probably feels like he has to, but he just doesn't fit in the Mourinho style of play. And as a result, like, he just doesn't, I don't think, get... I would adore having Mata at my club. Not only is he a great person, like, he does a lot of good work for charity and comes across as just the nicest guy, like a genuinely decent footballer, like a decent human being, but he's also just a brilliant footballer, I think. And obviously, I guess we've got to talk about what happened after the Chelsea goal. One of the Chelsea assistants, I couldn't honestly tell you his name. To put it simply, he went and kind of celebrated in front of Mourinho. Mourinho took a disliking to that and kind of ran after him a bit, and then did the whole thing where he was a bit like, hold me back, I'll get him, But it was all kind of handbags. What did surprise me was afterwards, to be fair to Mourinho, he turned around and said, he spoke to Sarri about it. Sarri said he'd sort it out. The other guy came up to him, apologised, and Mourinho said, yep, I'm fine with that. Let's move on. And I was very surprised because that's not a generally Mourinho thing to kind of do. He generally milks those situations. But as far as I'm concerned, it was a little bit of handbags. They all apologised and moved on. And I know the press probably won't see it like that, but there you go. That's the way it happens. And obviously he's got to be gutted, I guess, to drop those 2 points. That would have been really important for them. They're in 10th now. They could have been up in 7th potentially. Wouldn't have been, actually, to be fair, would have been 8th in goal difference. But Man United in 10th after 9 games is pretty atrocious. When you think that, like, that Newcastle match was pretty lucky, they're just not playing well. I'm recording this on Tuesday night, as you can see, and on the way home from work I was watching the first half of them against Juventus, and oh my god, Juventus were just taking them to town. It's only 1-0, and Man United, as it seems, do play better in the second half of games. But my goodness me, Juventus Juventus had 70% possession in the first half, and Man United are at home. That's scary. There's big problems there at Man United. I don't even know where to start with them, really. We speak about it all the time, every week. It's just either 2 things are going to happen. One of 2 things are going to happen. Mourinho will manage to turn it around and they'll finish top 4, or he'll get fired. I think it's that simple, really, now. Either they finish top 4 or he gets fired. I think that's probably fair. I think Man United will give him till the end of the season, unless things start going really badly, like they, by January they're like down here or something. But do I think he can do it? I think he could, yeah. I mean, he's got the players at his disposal. I don't think they're completely against him, but I do also think that it's just not clicking in the style. And so, in other words, I wouldn't be surprised if he does get sacked, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does stay for another season. It's just going to be one of those 2 things. Bournemouth, Southampton, I'm not going to lie, I didn't see any highlights highlights of this or anything. It looks like a bit of a snooze fest, to be fair. So it's probably a decent point for Southampton, to be fair. Lifts them out of the relegation zone, although they would have been out for a goal difference, to be fair. Bournemouth keeps them in the top 6, which they've got to be pretty chuffed about. Didn't expect them to be out there, but I've always said that they're probably going to finish mid-table-y. Cardiff Fulham, what a match this was. Really interesting match. I picked this one out because I don't know if I said it in the last episode, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I did, where I said I fancied Cardiff to get a win here because Fulham have looked so bad defensively over the last few games. I think Fulham have conceded the most goals in the Premier League this season, is that right? 25, look at that, way more than anyone else. Next nearest is 19. They've got thumped recently, you know, they just got thumped, and they look so bad. Like, don't get me wrong, Schürrle scored absolutely worldy. Sessegnon scored a great goal. They're good going forward. Their defence is shocking. You conceded 4 goals to Cardiff. This is Cardiff, a team, and I mean no offence to Cardiff, but they struggle with goals, and they looked like way better than Fulham. They were made to look a lot better than they are. I thought Murphy was just causing Fulham all sorts of problems at the back, as well as Patterson and Reed. They all looked really lively and all got a goal, to be fair. And yeah, Cardiff totally deserved this win. Totally, 100% deserved it. I don't know where Fulham go. You know, the bottom of the table is looking interesting, isn't it? I'll include Palace in this and say the bottom kind of 6 here, I think will all be fighting it out. I think the rest of the teams will do well enough to not be fighting in there. I don't think we're going to have as big a relegation zone as we did last season, but I think that bottom 6 will all be around there. I don't see any of them manage to crawl their way out yet. As to who will be there come the end of the season, I would not be surprised if it was Fulham right now. I think in my preview I did put them a lot higher because they made some really astute signings, and I thought they would go on and make some more. But they only signed strikers and wingers and midfielders, and they didn't sign defenders. And they've got, I've said before, they've got like Callum Chambers, who in my opinion is not good enough to be a Premier League footballer. In their back 4, that was their loan signing. There's just, I don't want to say there's not enough experience. Like Callum Chambers played a lot of games, but I don't feel like there's, the guys who have got a lot of experience have a lot of championship experience, and then the guys who have Premier League experience are all quite young and a little bit dodgy. So I think their defence is pretty bad, and the way they play does not help their defence. So they try and play a very attacking, open style, and don't get me wrong, like you have to praise teams who do that. Like, they're trying to play a certain way, but they've got to understand they're probably going to get relegated if they play that way with the current players they have. Now, they're not a poor side for them. They have a very rich owner, and they might be able to go out in January and buy some defenders, but it might also be too late. And I wonder if they're going to allow Jokanovic to stay. I've spoken before about Premier League newcomers, promoted sides who they have this early season bounce. Wolves definitely have had it, and Cardiff not so much, Fulham not so much, because one of the things that saved Huddersfield last season was their early form. They haven't had that this season because they haven't had that bounce, and I think Huddersfield will end up getting relegated, but we'll talk about them in a bit. But Fulham, if they haven't had the early season bounce, 9 games, 6 of them lost, 25 goals conceded, what happens once they start getting into those Christmas fixtures? Maybe a couple of those flair players, like Sessegnon or Seri or Schürrle get injured, or they don't really have the backup. What happens then? Because their defence isn't good enough to grind out wins with, so they rely on their attack to score more goals than their opponent. They can't do that. They're just going to lose all their games. And I think Jokanovic will probably end up being sacked before January, would be my prediction right now, and they'll get in somebody like an Allardyce or someone like that to try and keep them up, and they could do it. That could work, but yeah, I think Cardiff are slightly different. I still think Cardiff will probably be relegated. I have said don't underestimate Neil Warnock. They battered by the big teams, and they've had some tight games as well, which they've ended up losing. Maybe this win will give them the confidence to push on. I don't know. The slight difference, I guess, with them and Fulham is that they are more set up to be a better defensive unit. I wouldn't necessarily say they are. Like they've conceded 6 less, but they've still conceded 19. But they are set up in a better way than that, so they are perhaps better suited to grind out some results rather than play, attractive football. Although I think they played some good stuff against Fulham, to be fair. So yeah, fair play to them. I genuinely hope Cardiff stay up. Weirdly, I've got a lot of time for Neil Warnock. I know he grates against some people and they don't like him, but he is a decent guy. He stayed with Palace when we were in the shit, and he could have easily left and gone and got another job, and he didn't, and he worked his socks off, and he's had a lot of success. You can talk about Mourinho can talk about his 3 titles. Well, let's see Mourinho go into the Championship with no money and get promoted like however many times Warnock has, 4 or 5 times. That for me is, you can talk about, great managers win leagues and titles and things like that, but whatever league you're in, winning the title, in my opinion, it has the same weight to it. You can turn around and go, well, the Premier League's as difficult to win as the Championship, but the Premier League's harder to win than the Championship, but it isn't, because your budget for your team, the way you play, like the amount of fixtures you have in the Championship, I'd argue it's harder to win the Championship. If you turn around and said, okay, in the Championship you can take a mid-table Championship team and try and win it, or you can take a mid-table Premiership team and win it, yeah, it's probably harder to win the Premiership. But if you'd said, take a top 5 team in the Premier League, maybe one of these 5, or top 6 if you include Man United, with their budget and try and win the league, I'd argue that's easier than winning the Championship with a top 5, top 6 team from the previous season. Call me out if I'm wrong, but I don't think that. I think any manager who manages to win leagues consistently, not just once or twice or 3 times, but consistently, deserves a lot of respect, and I don't think Warnock gets it that much. Brings it on himself a little bit, yeah, not gonna lie, but I think he's a good manager. I hope he stays up. Man City, in the most unsurprising result of the day, smashed Burnley. What was really sad about this was Joe Hart's first return to the Etihad since he left, and he actually didn't have a bad game. I don't feel. You see there, he made 5 saves. He made some cracking saves. Just Man City, who were like liquid gold for this game. Everything they did just came off. Mahrez scored a banger. Bernardo Silva scored when it technically could have been a foul or a penalty, or the ball could have been out of play, or Silva could have been offside, but he managed to, make the assist when everybody else was worrying about the referee. What's the number one thing they teach you at school about football? You play to the whistle. You play to the whistle, And so Silva just, punts it in, chips it across, and Bernardo Silva with what actually was a really good finish, like totally in the top left corner, but the goalkeeper was nowhere because he was worried about the penalty. Just really good goals. Fernandinho with a stunning hit, just a fantastic hit as well. Just really good. Man City, they're I think 2-0 up against Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League tonight, and they'll win that comfortably, I think. Shakhtar Donetsk are not a bad side either. David Silva scored, and so did Laporte. Still 70% possessions in the first half to Juventus. Wow, I'm shocked by that, I really am. But if you watch the game, it was just the Juventus show. So it will probably be a Man United win by the end. But yeah, Burnley, I mean, there's teams will get talked by Man City. That could have been 9-0 if it wasn't for Joe Hart making some really good saves. I don't know quite what to make of Burnley. They had a good little run. I think people thought, oh, they're back a little bit. They played teams around them and beat them, and that's what Burnley are pretty good at. Sometimes they can grind out a result, a draw, something against the top teams, or nick a goal. But Man City, I feel, are just more equipped and better equipped to deal with those types of teams nowadays. And they're just, as I said, I think like Burnley, I feel for them a little bit because everything Man City was doing just came off. They were just liquid. And but I think Burnley are going to be okay this season. I don't think it's going to be a vintage season, but we'll see. Brighton beat Newcastle. I'm actually quite happy about that because I'm worried about Palace being sucked into the relegation. Well, they are sucked into the relegation battle now, so I want all these teams below them to lose. So I wasn't actually disappointed with that, despite the fact that moved Brighton further away from Palace and up the league. Chris Hughton again, another guy doesn't get enough credit for what he's done. Brighton are not a big team; they don't have big budget, but they could finish mid-table again this season, and that's pretty darn good for them. As for Newcastle, I said at the beginning they had a really tough run, and they did. And these are the types of games they've got to win. Brighton, Southampton. I can't remember who else it is they've got. Watford, Bournemouth. I think I said before, like, that's the run where you got to start picking up some points, and that's a bad start, especially at home to a team who has to travel all the way up the country. That's not good. It's a great win for Brighton, but it's not great for Newcastle, is it? It's not looking very good, shall we say? I don't know if maybe psychologically, like getting battered by those big teams at the beginning because they had that horrible start, has just maybe knocked the wind out their sails, and it's maybe difficult to recover. I guess that's Rafa's job to kind of come in and try and do that. But undoubtedly it's a tough one there. I think unless they manage to spend big in January, I think they're going down. Right now, if you said to me the three teams that go down, I would say the three that are there. But anything can happen. It really can. Absolutely anything. West Ham Spurs. I didn't get to see this one either, unfortunately, but 1-0 win for Spurs is decent. West Ham, I said Palace are in the relegation zone. West Ham have got exactly the same record. Bar it, they've scored a few more goals and they've conceded a few more goals. They've lost consecutive weeks 1-0, after going on a really nice little run, picking up some points. People thought, well, this is it, their turnaround, they can move up the table now. There's still problems there with them. I think Felipe Anderson's still struggling a little bit to, get used to the Premier League, but that should be expected, I think. Spurs are a tough side, they're up there now in 5th. They've won their last 3 before that. Not 100% convincingly, but they won. Lost to Liverpool only, and they're pushing for that top 4 as well. So it's not an easy win. This surprised me though. Wolves losing to Watford. Great win for Watford, and that's a bit of a welcome to the Premier League for Wolves. That's a sort of tough Premier League game. I think that Wolves probably won up for. I hadn't seen this. I wish I had, but I'd imagine it was probably like just Watford physically outpowering Wolves. I don't know if I can see what the. I'd love to know what the possession was. Here we go. Oh, so it was 2 very quick goals, was it? Interesting. I still haven't seen this. Wow, I'm shocked. Wolves had less possession. I thought they would have more. That's really interesting. I'm doing a disservice to Watford here. That is really interesting. As I said, I didn't get around. I was watching Match of the Day on the way to work and then a bit on the way back, but I didn't get around to this game. So I didn't see it, but that is really interesting. Huddersfield next. Doesn't look good for Huddersfield. Speaking of Huddersfield, lost 1-0 to Liverpool. I did see this game, and you know what? Huddersfield were really unlucky. They were really unlucky. They had a lot of chances, and they didn't put them away. And Liverpool, I would say Liverpool had less chances, but they did put them away. Now let's see if I'm right there. Yes, technically Huddersfield did have more chances than Liverpool. I thought so. You know, touches, well, not too far out passings. Both these sides play in a similar style. David Wagner is like I guess, an apprentice of Jurgen Klopp, as it were. You know, he plays in that sort of style, that philosophy, and they know each other very well. And Huddersfield really gave Liverpool a game, and I think Klopp said, like, you know, what the difference is between this season and last season for Liverpool is Liverpool can grind out a result like that this season. I think it's been a little bit at the expense of the free-flowing football. You know, you can see they've scored 16 goals in 9 games, which is certainly not shabby, but so have Bournemouth, and that's one more than Everton, that's one more than Man United and Leicester, and less than anybody else around them, bar Spurs. They've only conceded 3 though, so they defensively have been way better, but I think they've lost a little bit up front to what they had. They're still second, you know, by a goal difference only, and they've got Cardiff next, who I would expect them to beat. Man City have got a tough game against Spurs, which they could lose. So, you know, we could be looking at, you know, next week Liverpool being top of the league, but they've got to improve from what they were. I thought it was a really good goal by them though. Joe Gomez had a really good game. He looks really good. He looks like he's going to have a great partnership with Van Dijk, I think. You know, Gomez passed the ball up to Shaqiri, who took it. You know, put the ball, really nice, neat little ball through for Salah, who just turned and slotted it right in the corner. A very simple goal, but just, you know, super effective. And I mean, Salah missed a couple of other chances, and without a doubt, he hasn't been his usual self this season, I'd say. But he, you know, he's still scoring. How many he's got this season so far? 4. It's not the worst, you know. He is a midfielder, lest we forget. Kind of, I guess. But yeah, he's doing all right. He's doing all right. Liverpool doing okay. You know, I wouldn't be too worried as a Liverpool fan. I think last season they played badly at the beginning of the season, then really found their mojo, and it was the start that cost them, you know, any sort of challenge in the league. Well, they're already challenging in the league and not really finding their mojo. So if they can pick that up in the second half of the season and still be there or thereabouts, they could win the league. They could. Everton Palace, I don't want to talk about it. Okay, Palace missed a penalty. Everton scored 2 late goals. That's all you need to know. Moving on. Am I bitter? Yes. Am I bitter about the fact that Roy Hodgson doesn't seem to want to use a fucking substitute? Yes. Am I bitter about the fact that Crystal Palace have, over the course of the entirety of me supporting them, have only ever had about 2 good strikers in that entire time, and for some reason we just can't seem to get a good striker. Despite we've spent loads of money, we've spent no money, we've brought people through from the youth, we had whatever, we just can't find one. Am I pissed at that? Yeah, incredibly pissed at that. Anyway, move on. Arsenal v Leicester. This is a great game, I thought. Really good game. I watched this one live on Monday night, or last night. And, wow, a tale of 2 halves, really. First half, I thought Leicester, they scored first with Chilwell. Well, it was an own goal, technically, but it kind of was Chilwell, I guess. You know, good move, and Leicester took the game to Arsenal, and it looked very, very even. It looked like 2 sides at about the same level. And then in the second half, Emery changed it up with substitutes. You know, I talked about Hodgson not using any substitutes, and then we have Emery, you know, making substitutes and changing the game. I'm trying to see exactly when he changed them. Aubameyang. That just seemed to make the difference. Now, a lot of people have credited, or have given a lot of credit to, you can see he scored, like, in the 63rd and 66th. Ozil equalised, just before half-time for Arsenal with a neat finish, very, very neat finish. And I thought Ozil was actually really good in this game. He was made captain for the game, and I thought he gave in a really good performance. If he could consistently do that, he would live up to his billing as a world-class player. But he hasn't done that so far, so you can only go by what it was. And they started with Lacazette up front on his own, and had Aubameyang on the bench. Now, a lot of people credited Emery and said, great substitutions, turn the game around, you won the game. Yes, that is one way of looking at it. The other way I would look at it is, why on earth was Aubameyang on the bench? This guy scored 6 goals. Well, now he has. Before that, he scored 4 goals. Why is he on the bench again? Like, I'm not saying you should play him instead of Lacazette. I'm saying you need to play him and Lacazette. Every time I've seen Arsenal wipe the floor with the opposition, it's because Lacazette and Aubameyang have been linking up really well. That's what they need to do. I know the fashion nowadays is you have one striker. That's what you do. You have one striker. If you've got the players, if you've got 2 world-class strikers, just fucking play them. Like, I often see Man City play Jesus and Aguero. They're both strikers. They play them both. They can do that. Why are you hamstringing yourself? Why did you sign Aubameyang if you're going to rotate him with Lacazette? Just play them both. You're at home. If this was away to Leicester, I'd understand it a little bit more. But I don't. I think Arsenal would have wiped the floor with Leicester way more than they did if they'd have played Aubameyang from the beginning. That's my personal opinion. The move, I think it was, for Aubameyang's second goal was literally poetry in motion. I'm a big critical person in terms of Arsenal, because, well, for various reasons I've spoken about before. Like, I have an innate hatred of Arsenal because so many of my friends support them and just wind me up about it all the time, and it's getting to the point whereby, like a dog, where, like, if you hit a dog enough times, it just becomes automatically aggressive. I'm like that. I'm just like, if you just kind of batter me enough times, like with Arsenal, that I just end up hating them. If you tell me enough times that Arsenal run the right way of a football club and try to play the right football, and they concentrate on building their stadium, like, if you do tell me enough times, I'm like this dog, like a dog that's just going to bite back. So, but I will say they played some damn good football that game. It was poetry, that goal. The kind of like team move, I think it was, where they built it up from the back and then cut across, and there was like a little 1-2, and then he cut it back across for Aubameyang to slot in, and I was like, this is what I'm trying to do on FIFA every single game, and it doesn't come off. And oh my god, it was so good. Like, they really played well, Arsenal. In that second half, they really did. And yeah, they're looking good. They've won 9 games on the trot. Not just in the Premier League, that is, of course. They've won 7 on the trot in the Premier League, but they, Europe as well, including cup games, I guess. And they've got Crystal Palace next, so that's 10 games on the trot. Actually, I saw someone on Twitter say that Palace are at home to Arsenal, and Palace have failed to, I think, get a win at home this season, and failed to score at home this season. And Arsenal have won 9 games on the trot, possibly 10 by the time this game comes around, because of the Europa League. So it looks like Palace will win 2-1, which, to be fair, in Arsene Wenger era Arsenal, that would be the case. But in this Unai Emery era, where Arsenal are just 2 points off the league, who knows? I still think their defence is utter shit. And I still believe it is. Like, they didn't look good when Leicester were attacking them. They just looked way better at the other end. And I'm likening Arsenal at the minute a little bit to like that Kevin Keegan Newcastle era, where they just had this abundance of attacking talent. And that's why it annoys me they didn't play Aubameyang up front for the whole game, because it's like, your defence is awful. Okay, like you've got to outscore your opponent. You have this world-class striker on your bench, just because you only want to play one up front. Well, I'm sorry to break this to you, but your defence is shocking. 11 goals conceded, 22 scored. I dare say that will increase next week. And I mean, to be honest with you, I'd put Aubameyang in my fantasy team tomorrow if I thought he was going to play every game, but I just don't know. I just don't know. So yeah, Arsenal looking really good, and when you look at that league and you go, there's 2 points in it from 5th, it looks pretty darn competitive, doesn't it? And who's to say that a Liverpool or Man City are going to win the league this season? Chelsea are in it. Chelsea are unbeaten. Liverpool unbeaten. Man City unbeaten. After 9 games, it's not bad. Maybe they'll all go unbeaten the entire season. Who knows? Maybe Arsenal will win every single game left and win the league that way, even though there'll be 3 unbeaten teams. That would be incredible. I don't think that's going to happen. But, that's where we are at the minute. And it's interesting. It's very interesting. I'm enjoying it, personally. So next week we're going to have, this weekend I should say, Brighton Wolves. That's a pretty interesting game because both those sides are pushing their way up the table. I think Wolves want to win to get back on track, and Brighton are in some good form, having won 2 games 1-0. I'd fancy Wolves for that, but honestly I didn't see them against Watford, and by the looks of it they were pretty trash, so who knows. I'd fancy Bournemouth for this. I think they might have enough to beat Fulham. I think Fulham are looking pretty bad at the minute. Obviously I fancy Liverpool to beat Cardiff, but you never know. Liverpool have not been playing brilliantly lately. Could see that possibly being 0-0 or something like that. Southampton Newcastle, that's a pretty big game for both those clubs. If Southampton get a win there, that will really help them out, and Newcastle are desperate for a win. I personally hope Newcastle do win it in a way, even though I know Palace are in that relegation battle, but just something about Southampton I dislike as well currently. I think it's Mark Hughes, not Southampton the club or the players. I just don't like Mark Hughes. It just annoys me. He moans about the ref every single week, and he comes across as just this moany old man all the time. I hope Newcastle beat them. There you go, I said it. No offence to Southampton fans. I think Southampton are a great club. I just don't like Mark Hughes. Which probably means he'll be the next Palace manager, but anyway. Watford Huddersfield. I've got to fancy Watford for that. They're just on a roll right now. Huddersfield, they had no luck against Liverpool. Like on a different day they could have beaten Liverpool, really could have, but they just had no luck. There was shouts for a handball, which could possibly have been a handball. No luck. Possibly there was a goal which might not have been offside as well, because it might have come off a Liverpool defender instead of a Huddersfield player. But anyway, so that's interesting. Leicester, West Ham. Both those teams are mid-table, aren't they, really? I guess West Ham are a little bit lower. Leicester, they either win or they lose. That's what you get, 15 and 15-0 there. Yeah, I don't know about Leicester. I really don't. I think they did well in the first half against Arsenal. They just got blown away in the second half by a much better team. I don't think West Ham are anywhere near the level of Arsenal, so I'd fancy Leicester to maybe win that. Burnley v Chelsea. I'd fancy Chelsea for that. I'd fancy Arsenal for that. I don't even know about this game. Don't ask me about this one, I have no idea. I would normally say Man United at home, but Man United anywhere this season have just been a bit shit. Everton, I guess the late kind of goal would have given them some confidence. The 2 late goals against Palace, but I don't know really. From what I see as well, Man United is still 1-0 down to Juventus. Man City are 3-0 up against Shakhtar. I don't know if Man United have been playing any better because I've been recording this, sorry, but I'd possibly maybe go for Everton with that, weirdly enough. And then Spurs City, I don't think Spurs have been playing that well, and if City have come into a bit of a groove again, they had a draw with Liverpool, which you could kind of write off. But before that, they haven't conceded. They haven't conceded a goal for a while. They've only conceded 3 this season. I think they'll beat Spurs, weirdly enough, especially as it's at Wembley. I don't think Spurs do well at Wembley, but I guess they do pretty well at Wembley because they've won quite a few games this season. I think Spurs are struggling a little bit, so I think City are just starting to find their form. They were absolutely sublime against Burnley, so yeah, I'd go for that. In terms of who I'm going to change, I might actually make a change now, just so just so I remember. My cuts are I put in, so I'm going to have how much? 9.5. Shit, like I said, 9.7. I kind of fancied him. Arnautovic. Who did for West Ham got? Leicester. Brian Wolves. I guess a Liverpool player would be like ideal, but I can't. I haven't really got that many Liverpool players. What if I signed a shit striker or a cheap striker? Maybe Murray. No, he looks like he's injured. Who's a cheap but has good points? Firmino, has he been injured? Yeah, he didn't play a lot that game. I think he has been injured. Who's a cheap striker? Folks, Vieto, Gray, Dini. Did Gray, did he score? No. Dini didn't either. Okay. Tosson, nah. Joselu Reed of Cardiff. He actually did pretty well. And Cardiff, oh, they're against Liverpool. Yeah, they're not going to do anything. He says. He could be completely wrong. Calvert-Lewin is not a bad shout. He had a good game last week. Welbeck's Sturridge. That's the type of game Sturridge would play in. Might not be the worst shout. Should we add in Sturridge? And then we might. Shit, I'm making. No, I can't add in Sturridge because I don't want a Liverpool player. Out. Let's go to view all the forwards by total score. There we go. Wilson of Bournemouth. Absolutely, that seems like a no-brainer for that price. They're playing Fulham. He could get a goal. That gives me 3.1 mil left. He was a little bit cheaper than Zaha, wasn't he? 6.9 against 6.4. Who can I put in? If I get rid of Willian, that gives me 10.5. And then midfielders, 10.5. Mane's possibly injured. Ozil, David Silva. I can't have any more of them. Arsenal play Palace. Am I gonna do it? Put Ozil in. I'm gonna put Ozil in. Okay, shit. God, this could be a terrible mistake, but I just had this feeling. Oh, do I know? Oh my god, I don't even know. I want to put a Liverpool player in, if I can't afford. Salah and Mane's possibly injured. Firmino, no. Actually, I wouldn't mind putting in. Now let's undo this. Reset. Where's Shaqiri? I think he's been doing okay recently. There he is. So let's get rid of Willian and put in Shaqiri. Now he's started playing a little bit. I think he could do quite well against Cardiff. Hopefully he plays. So I think I'd probably have those 5. Well, who've Chelsea got? Burnley, yeah. I'd have those 5 in midfield. Madison for Leicester. They've got West Ham. Yeah, I'd fancy him to do alright. Probably just Aguero up front on his own. And then I'd have Arnold, Trippier, Mendy, Van Dijk. Definitely at the back. Arnold hasn't been playing though, so I might swap him for Gomez. Because Gomez has looked pretty good. And that's all the transfers I've got unless I want to pay. So there we go. There we go. Then that means I put Mendy in for Zaha. Van Dijk in for Wan-Bissaka. someone like Van Dijk as captain. My door just went open. Lloris in goal. Nah, I'd stick with Lloris just in case. Stinkelbo been playing? No, so there's no point putting him in. There's no points. There's literally no point. You never know about Zaha, so I put him there. But that's probably what we'll go for next week. So till then, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.